Welcome back. Tonight, we're drifting slowly into the complete lore of the puppet, the silent guardian of lost souls that emerged from Freddy Fazbear's shadows. A creation born from one man's desperate hope to protect the innocent, engineered in the hidden corners of a bustling pizzeria. It was meant to track and safeguard children with simple bracelets, ensuring no one wandered too far into harm's way. But instead, it became a vessel for endless vigilance, a spirit binding to its slender frame in a cycle of possession and revival, reshaping the animatronics not through destruction, but through an unending quest for justice and release. From the prize corner where it first stirred, to the fateful night it broke free, to the way it rallied the haunted and confronted the killer across fires and forgotten halls, we'll trace every step of this marionette's quiet journey. This is the story of how a tool for safety became a curse of perpetual watchfulness, and how one daughter's tragedy ignited a spark that still flickers in the ruins. Whether you're uncovering these details for the first time, letting familiar echoes pull you deeper into rest, or simply allowing the tale to wash over you like a gentle fog as sleep takes hold, this will carry you through the full, unbroken history of the puppet. Before we begin, feel free to like and subscribe. But only if you enjoy this kind of slow, immersive storytelling that unfolds like a dream. And let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is for you. It's always a quiet wonder to see the same story weaving through different corners of the world, one hushed night at a time. Let's begin. In the bustling halls of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, during its 1987 reopening, the puppet found its place in the prize corner, a quiet alcove away from the main stage where the toy animatronics performed their cheerful routines. Designed as a jack-in-the-box mechanism, it waited inside a striped gift box, ready to spring forth and distribute small prizes like plush toys to delighted children who earned enough tickets from arcade games. This setup stemmed from a practical need to engage young visitors, encouraging them to play longer and fostering a sense of reward within the pizzeria's lively atmosphere. As families wandered through the establishment, the puppet's emergence created moments of simple joy, its slender form extending to hand over treats before retreating back into concealment. This role also carried an undercurrent of oversight, as the animatronic incorporated basic security features to monitor the area, ensuring that no child strayed too far without notice. Over time, this dual function of entertainment and vigilance shaped how staff and patrons interacted with it, leading some employees to view it with a mix of utility and unease, as its presence lingered even when the music box wound down at closing hours. Children's drawings scattered across the walls of the pizzeria captured the puppet's appeal, often depicting it with exaggerated smiles and outstretched arms, symbols of the gifts it bestowed during birthday celebrations. These crayon sketches arose from genuine affection, as kids associated the animatronic with the thrill of winning prizes after successful games of skee-ball or token redemption challenges. The prize corner itself, stocked with plush toys and trinkets featuring characters like Toy Freddy and Toy Chica, became a focal point for such interactions, drawing crowds that fueled the restaurant's vibrant energy. However, this fondness contrasted with the adults' perceptions, particularly those of the night security guard, who left recorded messages warning about the puppet's peculiarities. His logs described how failing to keep the music box playing "My Grandfather's Clock" would prompt the animatronic to activate unpredictably, a consequence of its programmed independence that made routine checks more tense. In this way, the drawings not only reflected innocent admiration, but also highlighted the divide between youthful wonder and the practical concerns of maintaining order in a place built on mechanical whimsy. Phone Guy, the anonymous voice guiding new hires through phone recordings, often expressed his discomfort with the puppet, noting its constant awareness and ability to navigate the building without the constraints that bound other animatronics like Toy Bonnie or Toy Foxy. This stemmed from the puppet's design, allowing it to bypass certain protocols, such as ignoring the flashlight beam or the protective Freddy Fazbear head mask used to deter threats during night shifts. Staff learned to prioritize winding the music box at the prize counter, a simple action that prevented the puppet from leaving its station and roaming the darkened corridors. This mechanic underscored the animatronic's role in the broader ecosystem of Freddy's, where entertainment blurred with subtle control measures to keep operations smooth. Phone Guy's observations revealed the puppet's deeper significance, as its independence hinted at an intelligence that went beyond mere programming, setting the stage for the mysteries that would unfold in the pizzeria's shadowed history. The mechanical rhythms of the music box became a heartbeat for the establishment, a constant reminder that something watched from the prize corner, waiting for the melody to fade. Amid the colorful array of animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the puppet's form stood out with its elongated, slender build, a stark contrast to the rounded, animal-inspired shapes of companions like Toy Freddy or Toy Chica, crafted primarily in black fabric or plastic material, depending on the era's depictions. Its body featured crisp, white stripes, encircling the lower arms and legs, creating a striped pattern that evoked a sense of rhythmic motion, even in stillness. 3 polished white buttons ran vertically down the torso, serving as simple accents that hinted at a vestigial costume element, perhaps echoing the pizzeria's theme of playful performance. This design choice arose from a need to differentiate the puppet as a marionette-style entity, separate from the stage performers, which in turn allowed it to blend into the prize corner's backdrop without overwhelming the space. Visitors often perceived it as more humanoid and approachable during daytime operations, yet its proportions lent an air of otherworldliness that lingered in the minds of those who glimpsed it emerging from the gift box. Over repeated encounters, this visual simplicity fostered a subtle familiarity, drawing children closer while subtly underscoring its role in the restaurant's ecosystem. The puppet's head, a smooth, porcelain mask, anchored its eerie yet captivating presence with hollow black eyes that occasionally flickered with faint white dots in moments captured during FNAF 2's night cutscenes. Purple stripes trailed downward from these sockets like perpetual tears, converging toward a broad, toothless smile framed by rosy red cheeks and lips that maintained a red hue across games despite minor variations in some merchandise. This facial arrangement stemmed from an intentional stylistic nod to classic clown or doll aesthetics, designed to evoke innocence while masking deeper mechanical intent, which consequently amplified its unsettling impact on night guards monitoring the cameras. In practice, the mask's unchanging expression created a source for tension, as it stared blankly through disguises like the Freddy Fazbear head, unaffected by attempts to repel it with light or evasion. Such features not only reinforced the puppet's independence from standard animatronic behaviors, but also invited speculation among staff like Phone Guy's recorded unease about its constant vigilance. Gently, this design element wove into the broader narrative of Freddy's, where appearances often concealed the animatronic's capacity for autonomous movement, creating a dissonance between the cheerful exterior and the mechanical reality beneath. Completing the puppet's silhouette were its hands and lower extremities, engineered with 3 cable-like fingers on each side, devoid of joints for a fluid, almost tentacle-like quality that facilitated grasping prizes without complex articulation. Lacking traditional feet, it appeared to levitate or hover in most in-game sequences, a trait attributed to its lightweight construction and possible internal mechanisms, leading to effortless navigation across the pizzeria's layout in titles like Ultimate Custom Night. This absence of grounded footing emphasized its marionette theme, evoking puppet-like control without visible strings or crossbar elements, highlighting thematic roots and resulting in a portrayal that suggested supernatural agility beyond mere robotics. The design enhanced its ability to traverse spaces undetected, bypassing barriers that confined others, like Toy Bonnie. In later appearances, such as Help Wanted's VR recreations, this evolved into a wobbly walk cycle for added immersion, yet the core levitation preserved its mystique. Softly unfolding across the franchise, these physical traits cemented the puppet's place as a bridge between whimsy and the unknown, a figure that existed in the liminal space between entertainment and something far more ancient and purposeful. Henry Emily, co-founder of the Freddy Fazbear animatronics alongside William Afton, engineered the puppet with an integrated security protocol to safeguard children wandering the pizzeria's expansive play areas. This feature relied on tracking a specific green bracelet given to his daughter, Charlotte Emily, emitting a unique signal that the animatronic could detect and respond to without disrupting daytime festivities. The system was designed for her protection, ensuring focused monitoring and allowing the puppet to locate her amid crowds drawn to arcade machines and party rooms, while other children wore different colored bands. Activation occurred only upon signal detection, prompting the animatronic to emerge from its prize corner box and guide the lost child back to safety, a process that blended seamlessly with its gift-dispensing routine. This design addressed the inherent risks of a venue packed with high-energy games and dimmer-back halls where supervision often fell short during peak hours. In operation, the bracelet's frequency triggered subtle movements, preventing overreach while maintaining the illusion of harmless entertainment, which in turn built parental trust and extended visit durations. The puppet remained dormant within its striped gift box until the green bracelet signal pierced the ambient noise of laughter and token clatters, at which point its internal sensors locked onto the coordinates and initiated a quiet pursuit through vents or shadowed pathways, meant to intervene gently, perhaps by extending a cable-fingered hand or playing a soothing melody from its music box. This capability positioned it as an unseen guardian, distinct from the performative roles of Toy Chica or Toy Freddy on stage. Staff logs like those from Phone Guy indirectly reference this vigilance, noting the animatronic's propensity to think and reposition independently, a byproduct of its tracking algorithms that prioritized her welfare over rigid programming. Such autonomy mattered because it compensated for understaffed nights or overlooked corners where arcade lures might draw kids astray, fostering an environment where tragedies seemed preventable through technology alone. The pizzeria thrived on this reputation, drawing families who valued the added layer of protection amid the mechanical band's songs. Henry's engineering represented a father's love translated into circuits and servos, a desperate attempt to ensure that no harm would ever come to his daughter within these walls. The green bracelet became a symbol of that promise, a technological tether between parent and child in an establishment designed to bring joy but shadowed by the potential for loss. In the quiet moments between arcade bells and birthday songs, the puppet waited, its systems attuned to that singular frequency, ready to spring into action at the first hint of distress. Rainfall proved the protocol's undoing during a pivotal malfunction. As water infiltrated the puppet's exposed circuits, while it strained to reach Charlotte's fading signal outside the diner or early Freddy's location, this environmental corrosion shorted key components, halting the tracking mid-response and leaving the animatronic dragging across wet pavement toward her abandoned form. The green bracelet, sodden and unresponsive, no longer broadcast clearly, severing the link that Henry had calibrated so precisely. Depicted in the FNAF 6 security puppet minigame, this failure exposed the system's vulnerability to weather, transforming a tool of prevention into a witness of loss. Without operational integrity, the puppet collapsed beside the body, its security role rendered inert, which paved the way for Charlotte's spirit to claim the shell. This chain of breakdown not only marked the onset of hauntings, but also underscored the fragile line between engineered safety and unforeseen peril in Freddy Fazbear's world. The rain fell without mercy that night, each drop a hammer blow against the delicate electronics that were meant to save a life, washing away the promise of protection and leaving only the stark reality of failure in its wake. Outside the dimly lit facade of what may have been Fredbear's family diner or an early Freddy Fazbear's pizza, young Charlotte Emily found herself locked out on a stormy evening, the rain cascading in relentless sheets that blurred the neon glow of the entrance sign. As Henry's daughter, she had grown familiar with the pizzeria's rhythms, often accompanying her father amid the hum of arcade cabinets and the distant chime of birthday songs. But this night isolated her from that warmth, the downpour soaking through her clothes, each drop amplifying her vulnerability as she pressed against the door, hoping for someone inside to notice her plight. This separation stemmed from a simple oversight, perhaps a crowded party or a momentary distraction among staff like those handling Fredbear's performances, leaving her exposed to the elements and unforeseen danger. In the quiet buildup of the storm, the scene unfolded with a deceptive calm, the rain masking footsteps and muffling cries, setting a chain that would forever alter the animatronic's legacy. Her presence there, tied to the green security bracelet on her wrist, symbolized the fragile trust placed in the establishment's safeguards. Yet the night's turn exposed how easily such protections could falter. A purple car pulled up through the veil of rain, its headlights cutting brief paths across the wet pavement before dimming. And from it emerged William Afton, Henry's once trusted partner, whose hidden malice had yet to fully reveal itself in Freddy's timeline. Approaching Charlotte with deliberate steps, he confronted her in the shadows, her widened eyes reflecting a final moment of recognition before the act that marked her as the first documented victim in the string of tragedies plaguing the chain. This murder, shrouded in the vagueness of early records but confirmed through minigames in FNAF 2 and Pizzeria Simulator, arose from Afton's growing descent into violence, perhaps fueled by personal grievances, or the thrill of unchecked power within the pizzeria's secretive underbelly. The purple hue of his vehicle and silhouette became recurring motifs in later depictions, linking him indelibly to the missing children incidents that followed. Charlotte's death not only shattered Henry's world, but ignited the supernatural thread weaving through the animatronics, transforming a place of celebration into one shadowed by loss. Gently, this event rippled outward, drawing the puppet into its orbit, as the animatronic's security protocol strained against the unfolding horror, circuits sparking in the rain as it fought to reach the signal that was fading into silence. Abandoned amid skid marks etched into the mud and scattered trash bins behind the building, Charlotte's body lay still as the rain continued its indifferent patter, washing away traces of the struggle while preserving the scene in somber isolation. This desolate spot, captured in the security puppet minigame of FNAF 6, highlighted the abrupt end to her life, her green bracelet now silent and useless against the tragedy. The placement of her form near everyday debris underscored the banality of evil infiltrating Freddy's, where joy rides in arcade games gave way to real peril in unmonitored alleys. Henry's later reflections in his monologue acknowledged this failure, expressing regret that no one lifted her as she had lifted others, a sentiment that echoed the protective instincts she would soon embody. Her fate bound the puppet's path to vengeance and guardianship, ensuring that the animatronic's awakening carried the weight of this unresolved sorrow. In the quiet aftermath, the storm subsided, leaving only echoes that would haunt the franchise's halls for years to come. The rain-soaked pavement bearing witness to the moment when innocence died and something far darker was born. Presents piled haphazardly against the security puppet's striped gift box created an unintended barrier inside the pizzeria, trapping the animatronic as the green bracelet signal from Charlotte Emily grew faint amid the storm outside. Programmed to respond to such alerts, the puppet activated its internal mechanisms, pushing against the obstruction with its cable-like fingers until the blockage gave way. This escape marked a shift from passive monitoring to active pursuit, driven by Henry's embedded protocols that prioritized locating the bracelet's wearer above all else. Once free, the animatronic hovered briefly before navigating the familiar layout of arcade machines and party tables, its porcelain mask scanning for the signal source. The minigame in FNAF 6 illustrates this moment with pixelated precision, showing the box's lid bursting open as the puppet emerges fully from its confines, emphasizing its autonomy in crisis. Rain-slick floors inside the building hinted at the weather's intrusion, preparing the scene for the greater challenge awaiting beyond the doors. This breakout not only tested the limits of its design, but also exposed the fragility of relying on machinery for human safety as the signal's urgency pulled it toward the unknown. Venturing outside into the downpour, the puppet encountered immediate resistance from the water, which seeped into its joints and circuits, causing sparks and erratic movements that slowed its progress. Dragging its slender form along the wet pavement, it followed the weakening bracelet frequency around the building's exterior, where thunder masked the hum of its failing servos. This exposure to elements far beyond the controlled environment of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza led to progressive shutdowns, transforming fluid levitation into labored crawls as vital systems corroded. Depictions in the security puppet minigame capture this degradation through simplified animations. The animatronic's stripes glistening under rain that symbolizes the breakdown of Henry's protective vision. Skid marks and scattered trash guided its path, remnants of William Afton's departure that intertwined the puppet's fate with the tragedy. The relentless pursuit, despite mounting damage, revealed the depth of its programmed dedication, pushing forward even as mobility faltered. In this vulnerable state, the animatronic bridged the gap between mechanical intent and the human loss unfolding nearby, highlighting the pizzeria's hidden vulnerabilities as each circuit struggled against the inevitable failure that approached with every passing moment. Arriving at Charlotte's side amid the debris, the puppet extended one final effort before its circuits fully shorted, collapsing in a heap beside her, still form as the rain continued to fall. Unable to lift or revive her, the animatronic's presence served as a silent vigil, its black eyes staring blankly at the consequences of the night's events. This proximity allowed Charlotte's spirit to transfer into the shell, a possession born from the failure of security measures that Henry had so carefully crafted. The FNAF 6 minigame confirms the sequence through faded visuals, ending with the puppet inert next to the body, underscoring the tragic irony of a guardian arriving too late. Henry's later words in his monologue reflect on this moment, lamenting the absence of arms to embrace her as she had embraced others. The collapse not only ended the immediate search, but initiated the puppet's haunted existence, binding Charlotte's protective essence to the animatronic's frame. This union set the foundation for future interventions, where the once mechanical entity would carry forward her unresolved will, transformed from a tool of safety into a vessel for a spirit that refused to rest while injustice remained. Lying motionless beside Charlotte Emily's body in the rain-soaked alley behind the pizzeria, the puppet's damaged frame provided an empty vessel at the precise moment her life slipped away. Waterlogged circuits sparked faintly as her essence, unbound by the tragedy inflicted by William Afton, sought refuge in the nearest conduit, the animatronic shell crafted by her father Henry for protection, but now rendered inert. This transfer occurred seamlessly, her spirit infusing the black and white striped form with a new awareness, turning mechanical failure into a bridge for lingering will. Henry's design, intended for security through bracelet tracking, inadvertently facilitated this possession, as the green band's silence left the puppet open to supernatural influence. This marks the origin of hauntings at Freddy Fazbear's, where a child's unresolved end sparked a chain of animated vengeance. The moment solidified the puppet's transformation, no longer just a prize corner fixture, but a guardian animated by personal loss, ready to extend Charlotte's innate compassion into darker pursuits. The rain mingled with oil and circuitry as two existences merged, flesh and spirit finding new purpose within metal and wire, creating something that was neither fully human nor entirely machine, but something altogether more persistent and purposeful. Becoming the first possessed animatronic in the Freddy saga, the puppet drew from Charlotte's protective nature channeling her habit of uplifting the vulnerable into actions that would later rally other spirits against their shared tormentor. This infusion altered its core programming, granting abilities like levitation and mask-piercing perception, evident in FNAF 2 mechanics, where it ignored disguises such as the Freddy Fazbear head. Charlotte's influence manifested in a drive to shield innocence, a trait Henry later referenced in his pizzeria simulator monologue, praising her tendency to lift others even in death. The possession elevated the puppet above mere robotics, embedding a soul's instincts that propelled it to intervene in subsequent murders, creating a lineage of haunted suits. Minigames confirm this primacy through their sequences, positioning the puppet as the catalyst for the band's awakenings, where one child's fate ignited a collective resistance. This shift wove Charlotte's memory into the fabric of Freddy's horrors, ensuring her legacy endured through mechanical eyes that now saw with purpose beyond programming, understanding the weight of loss and the necessity of protection in ways that circuits and servos never could alone. Henry Emily's recorded words in the FNAF 6 ending address this rebirth directly, speaking to his daughter with sorrow for failing to save her that rainy night, while affirming her return as aligned with her caring essence. Official sources, including the Freddy Files book and Ultimate Custom Night descriptions, designate the puppet itself as male with pronouns like he. Yet, Charlotte's female spirit creates a layered identity, blending animatronic form with human soul. This contrast highlights the franchise's theme of mismatched vessels, a motif that echoes across other possessions but remains consistent in canon without resolution. Henry's apology underscored the possession's inevitability, as Charlotte's protective drive compelled her to persist, influencing the puppet's later voice lines in Ultimate Custom Night. "The others are under my protection." The monologue not only humanized the event, but framed it as a natural extension of her character, binding father and daughter across realms. In this way, the spirit's integration deepened the puppet's role, turning personal grief into a force that shaped the ongoing saga, ensuring that the love between parent and child transcended death itself and became something that would influence the fate of countless others caught in Freddy Fazbear's web. Awakened by Charlotte Emily's spirit within its frame, the puppet lingered in the shadows of an earlier Freddy Fazbear's pizza location, its black eyes capturing the grim sequence as William Afton methodically lured 5 children away from the arcade lights and party rooms. Positioned near the prize areas or back halls, the animatronic's vantage allowed it to observe each abduction, from the initial deceptive smiles to the hidden corners where the deeds occurred, marking the start of the infamous missing children incident. This exposure to Afton's calculated violence, detailed in FNAF 2 minigames like Give Gifts, Give Life, imprinted a deep resolve in the puppet's possessed form, shifting its purpose from mechanical security to a silent sentinel against such horrors. The children's cries, muffled by the pizzeria's cheerful facade, echoed in its circuits, forging a bond that compelled intervention beyond programmed limits. Henry's creation, now infused with his daughter's essence, transformed these observations into a foundation for guardianship, where passive watching evolved into active preservation of the innocent. The murders unfolded over time, with newspapers later reporting 2 children taken initially, then expanding to 5 as the spree continued unchecked amid the withered animatronics, like Freddy and Bonnie standing idle on stage. From its concealed spot, the puppet registered each lost Susie among them, as glimpsed in Pizzeria Simulator's insights of individual targeting, fueling an internal drive to counter the emptiness left behind. This witnessing role shaped the unfolding events profoundly, positioning the puppet as the connective thread between Afton's crimes and the haunted band's origins, where observation alone ignited a protective instinct that Charlotte's spirit amplified. Voice lines in Ultimate Custom Night echo this evolution. "The others are under my protection," a declaration born from those shadowed moments. The animatronic's levitating form hovered unseen, gathering the weight of each tragedy, which in turn prepared it for the minigame acts of revival that followed. These events carved a path of vengeful oversight into the puppet's existence. As the spirits of the slain children lingered in the air, their unrest palpable in the quiet between arcade beeps and distant laughter. Acting on this awareness, the puppet began positioning itself to intervene, its cable fingers ready to guide or bind, ensuring no further dissolution into oblivion for the victims. Minigames frame this shift as essential, with the puppet's role in subsequent sequences like Save Them, showing attempts to rally the withered suits against the Purple Man's shadow. Charlotte's influence wove through these actions, turning raw observation into a mantle of protection that extended beyond one night, creating a legacy that would define the haunted establishment for years to come. In the dim glow of emergency lights, the puppet's porcelain mask reflected the resolve to preserve what Afton sought to erase, setting the stage for the hauntings that define Freddy's legacy. The animatronic moved with purpose through the darkened halls, no longer bound by the simple programming of prize distribution, but driven by something far more primal, the need to protect, to prevent, to ensure that these children would not simply vanish into the void. The mechanical guardian had found its true calling in the wake of tragedy, transforming from Henry's tool into Charlotte's instrument, a bridge between the world of the living and the realm where lost children waited for justice. In the pixelated corridors of FNAF 2's minigames, the puppet glides toward the grayed-out forms of 4 murdered children scattered across the pizzeria's main room, their bodies rendered in simple 8-bit shades to signify lifelessness, without any withered animatronics like Freddy or Bonnie present nearby. Driven by Charlotte Emily's spirit, the animatronic pauses at each one, extending its cable fingers to place animatronic masks over their heads as initial gifts, a gesture drawn from its prize corner origins, but now twisted into a ritual of preservation. This act stems from the puppet's witnessing of William Afton's crimes, compelling it to intervene before the souls dissipate entirely. The minigame unfolds in deliberate steps, with the puppet hovering from child to child, such as the one destined for Chica, then Foxy, each placement evoking a quiet echo of the pizzeria's lost innocence. After gifting the 4, a 5th figure appears, a Blink and Miss Golden Bear representing Golden Freddy, ensuring all victims receive this macabre offering. The sequence builds a foundation for the hauntings, where mechanical shells become vessels for unrest, linking the puppet's actions to the band's eventual pursuit of justice. Progressing beyond mere tokens, the puppet then stuffs the children's corpses into the corresponding withered suits, Freddy's plush bear frame, Bonnie's rabbit structure, sealing them within the metal and fabric confines that once entertained crowds on stage. This physical binding arises from the animatronic's protective impulse, granting a gift of life that awakens the spirits to possess their new forms, as confirmed in the minigame's text overlays flashing "Give Gifts," followed by "Give Life." The process transforms the victims into active entities, their essences merging with the suit's endoskeletons, which in turn enables nocturnal wanderings and vengeful behaviors seen in later nights. Phone Guy's logs indirectly allude to this origin, describing the animatronic's unnatural awareness post-incident. By enclosing the bodies, the puppet creates a perpetual prison where freedom comes at the cost of eternal vigilance against Afton, forging the core group that haunts Freddy Fazbear's Pizza across timelines. This revival cements the original haunted band's formation, with the puppet's intervention binding the souls to suits that persist through dismantlings and fires. From the 1,987 location to Fazbear's Fright, the act's significance lies in its dual nature, mercy through continued existence, yet tormented via entrapment, mirroring Charlotte's own possession and driving the narrative of retribution in Ultimate Custom Night. Voice lines like, "I am very aware," The mini-game's conclusion, with the heads transforming and faint sparks igniting, initiates the chain of events leading to Springtrap's pursuit and Henry's final blaze. Through this, the puppet emerges as the architect of the hauntings, its gifts ensuring the children's spirits endure to confront their killer, weaving a thread of guardianship that spans the franchise's shadowed history. The act was neither wholly benevolent nor entirely cruel. It existed in that gray space where love and desperation meet, where the desire to protect becomes indistinguishable from the act of binding, creating an eternal vigil that none of the spirits had chosen, but all would be forced to maintain. Within the 8-bit confines of FNAF 2's Save Them minigame, set amid the 1987 Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, with its toy animatronics on stage and withered versions tucked in back rooms, the puppet appears in various spots, its presence coinciding with the dimly rendered halls. Charlotte Emily's spirit infuses this scene, her protective drive manifesting as on-screen prompts urging, "Save them," while the puppet hovers nearby, navigating past arcade cabinets and party tables strewn with pixelated debris. This call to action emerges from the puppet's earlier revival in Give Gifts, Give Life, where it bound souls to suits, now extending that guardianship to rally the haunted against ongoing threats. Withered Freddy, possessed by one of the original victims, moves through the space in pursuit of salvation for the newly slain. Responding to the urgent atmosphere, bodies of additional children appear scattered throughout the layout, gray forms slumped in corners or near vents, evidence of William Afton's continued murders that the pizzeria's shutters try to conceal. The minigame structure emphasizes urgency, with the puppet present amid the confrontation of horror, blending mechanical animation with supernatural intent to weave a narrative of resistance against the darkness that had claimed so many innocent lives. As Withered Freddy advances through the minigame's layout, the scene reveals more victims' remains dotting the digital pizzeria, their positions highlighting Afton's methodical expansion of the missing children tally beyond the initial 5. These fresh losses, occurring in the toy-era location where Phone Guy's logs warn of heightened activity, underscore the failure of security measures like the toy facial recognition, now overshadowed by spectral intervention. The animatronic's path draws Freddy deeper into the maze of rooms, past the prize corner and stage where the toy variants like Toy Chica stand frozen in contrast to the withered band's stirring unrest. This progression builds tension through simple controls, mirroring the franchise's theme of futile attempts at rescue amid mechanical confines. The scattered bodies serve as stark reminders of unchecked violence, prompting the puppet's strategy to unite the possessed suits in a collective hunt. In this pixelated chase, the animatronic's role shifts from observer to leader, channeling Charlotte's essence to mobilize forces against the Purple Man's shadow lingering in the code. The minigame culminates in an abrupt ambush, as the Purple Man, William Afton in silhouette, darts from hiding to confront Withered Freddy, delivering the message, "You can't," before the screen fades, halting the rescue and leaving the puppet's efforts thwarted. This interruption captures the essence of recurring defeat in the pizzeria's history, where attempts to save or avenge fall short against Afton's cunning, as seen in newspaper clippings linking multiple disappearances to the chain. Post-event cutscenes show the puppet staring intently into Freddy's eyes, a silent communion that rallies the haunted animatronics for ongoing pursuit, evident in their nocturnal behaviors across games. Chica and Bonnie join in similar gazes later, suggesting a coordinated awakening under the puppet's influence. The stare-down reinforces the puppet's pivotal position, binding the group in a shared purpose to track their killer through decades of closures and reopenings. Through this, the minigame cements the puppet's leadership in the spectral crusade, turning individual possessions into a unified front against the horrors embedded in Freddy Fazbear's history. The communion between mechanical souls created a network of awareness, a collective consciousness, bound by tragedy and driven by the single animatronic that had witnessed it all from the beginning, ensuring that even in defeat, The mission to protect and avenge would persist across the years that followed. Night guards stationed in the security office of the 1987 Freddy Fazbear's Pizza faced a persistent task amid the roaming toy animatronics, winding the music box at the prize corner camera to contain the puppet within its striped gift box. This melody, "My Grandfather's Clock," played in a looping rhythm, its notes serving as the sole barrier against the animatronic's release. A design rooted in its jack-in-the-box origins that required constant maintenance to suppress activation. Players monitored the box through the camera feed, clicking to rewind as the coil unwound over time, a process that demanded split attention while fending off threats like Toy Bonnie or Toy Chica slipping into vents. Neglect allowed the tune to fade, triggering an ominous shift where the puppet stirred, its possession by Charlotte Emily's spirit, granting it an independence that Phone Guy's logs described as always thinking and able to go anywhere. The mechanic highlighted the puppet's elevated status among the haunted, where routine oversight prevented escalation. Yet, lapses invited immediate peril in the dimly lit confines of the office. The constant need for vigilance created a rhythm within the night shift itself, a pulse that matched the winding mechanism, reminding guards that some things in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza required endless attention, endless maintenance, endless watchfulness to prevent the inevitable horror from breaking free. Failure to sustain the music box prompted a distinct warning. The chime of "Pop Goes the Weasel" echoed through the speakers, signaling the puppet's emergence from its confines and the start of its deliberate path toward the guard. Stalking from camera to camera, prize corner to hallways, vents to doorways, the animatronic moved with levitating grace, its porcelain mask and striped limbs appearing in grainy feeds that built tension with each progression. This pursuit stemmed from its protective drive, amplified by Charlotte's essence, making it immune to standard defenses employed against others like Toy Foxy. Flashlight beams passed harmlessly over its form, and the Freddy Fazbear head mask, effective for disguising against the toys, offered no deception, as the puppet saw through illusions with unerring focus. Guards scrambled to balance this advance with other intrusions. The camera switches, revealing its steady approach, a mechanic that underscored the animatronic's paranormal superiority in the franchise's early nights. In those moments, the pizzeria's layout transformed into a maze of inevitability, where the puppet's freedom meant certain confrontation, its movement through the building, a testament to the power that dwelled within its slender frame, power that transcended programming and entered the realm of something far more ancient and unstoppable. Upon reaching the office threshold, the puppet delivered an instant jump scare, its elongated body lunging forward to fill the view with its tear-striped mask and hollow eyes, ending the shift in abrupt defeat, unless mere seconds remained until dawn. This attack ignored all countermeasures, its cable fingers grasping at the air as the screen shook, a consequence of its haunted autonomy that set it apart from the flashlight-vulnerable toys or mask-foolable withered suits. Depictions in FNAF 2 capture this finale with visceral sound design, the music box's failure cascading into a lethal encounter that reinforced the puppet's role as an unavoidable force. Phone Guy's warnings about its intelligence echoed here, as survival hinged on proactive winding rather than reactive evasion, teaching players the weight of oversight in Freddy's shadowed ecosystem. The mechanic not only heightened gameplay stakes, but mirrored the lore's theme of unrelenting guardianship, where Charlotte's spirit ensured no escape from accountability in the quiet hours. The jump scare itself became iconic within the franchise, the sudden rush forward, the mask filling the entire screen, the sense of having failed in one's duty to maintain the barrier between the watcher and the watched, between the guardian and those it had sworn to protect or punish. The 1987 reopening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza lasted mere days before a cascade of tragedies sealed its fate, with William Afton's murders claiming additional children amid the toy animatronic's cheerful performances on stage. Phone Guy's final logs captured the chaos, mentioning investigations and a day shift vacancy tied to an incident that left the establishment tainted beyond repair. This brief operation, glimpsed in FNAF 2's setting with its prize corner and arcade halls, ended abruptly as authorities linked the disappearances to the site, prompting a shutdown that silenced the music box, melodies, and party horns. The Save Them minigame illustrated the horror bodies scattered in pixelated rooms while the puppet and withered suits stirred in vain attempts at intervention. Staff scrambled to contain the fallout, but the weight of loss proved insurmountable, leading to locked doors and faded neon signs outside the building. In those closing hours, the pizzeria's vibrant facade crumbled, exposing the underbelly of secrets that Henry Emily's creations could no longer mask, marking the end of an era for the toy lineup. The promise of safety through technology had failed spectacularly, and the dream of a family-friendly establishment, free from tragedy, dissolved into the nightmare of another location, haunted by the sins of its creator's business partner. Following the closure, the toy animatronics, Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, and others, faced systematic dismantling, their plastic shells and endoskeletons reduced to heaps of limbs and parts stored in forgotten boxes, as depicted in FNAF's glimpses of salvaged remnants. This deconstruction stemmed from corporate decisions to erase evidence of the failures, repurposing components or scrapping them to distance Fazbear Entertainment from the scandals. Phone Guy's recordings hinted at this purge, noting the toy's retirement amid safety concerns, their facial recognition tech rendered obsolete in the wake of tampering. The process stripped the location bare, leaving echoes of arcade beeps and stage lights in empty spaces where once crowds gathered for birthdays. Yet this fate spared the puppet, its slender form evading the disassembly lines, perhaps due to its unique prize corner integration or Charlotte Emily's spirit shielding it from notice. The animatronic's survival preserved a thread of continuity, allowing its haunted presence to linger beyond the rubble. Stored in shadowed warehouses or relocated undisclosed through the years between FNAF 1 and FNAF 3 eras, the puppet endured the passage of decades, its black and white stripes gathering dust, while William Afton's springlock entrapment unfolded in sealed rooms. This persistence originated from its distinct design, unbound by the toy series' vulnerabilities, enabling it to remain intact amid corporate purges that claimed the others. Henry's engineering, combined with the possessing spirit's will, sustained it through neglect, setting the groundwork for resurgences in places like Fazbear's Fright. The interim years passed without record, with no direct sightings until its form re-emerged on Cam 08. But the puppet's quiet endurance ensured its return to confront Afton. Through storage crates and forgotten inventories, it bridged timelines, carrying Charlotte's protective essence forward to influence later hauntings and the pursuit of justice in the franchise's unfolding narrative. The dust settled thick upon its mask, the music box mechanism within its chest growing silent with disuse. Yet the spirit that animated the frame remained vigilant, waiting for the moment when it would be needed once more, when the cycle of violence and vengeance would call it forth from the shadows to continue the work that had begun on that rain-soaked night so many years before. Decades after the 1987 closure, the puppet resurfaced in altered form within Fazbear's Fright, a horror attraction pieced together from Freddy Fazbear's pizza relics to capitalize on the missing children scandals. This phantom puppet emerged on camera 08, positioned in a narrow hallway lined with rusted props and flickering safety tapes, its once pristine porcelain mask now decayed and charred from implied exposure to flames. The animatronic's black body bore scorch marks, white stripes faded to ashen streaks, while purple tear lines deepened into cracks, evoking the toll of prolonged abandonment in storage crates between eras. Players spotted it lurking motionless at first, a subtle flicker on the grainy feed amid audio lures blasting phone guys' distorted warnings. This manifestation, hallucination, or spectral echo arose from the site's haunted atmosphere, where salvaged parts from dismantled toys and withered suits converged to stir unrest. William Afton's Springtrap, sealed in a springlock suit nearby, loomed as the central exhibit, drawing the phantom's gaze in silent accusation. The attraction's dim corridors amplified this presence, turning relics into active threats that blurred memory with menace, creating an environment where the past refused to stay buried and the horrors of Freddy Fazbear's history materialized in spectral form. Prolonged observation of the phantom puppet on Cam 08 triggered its advance, the figure shifting closer until it materialized directly in the office, its elongated head dominating the screen to obscure controls and ventilation. Guards recoiled as the burnt mask filled the view, hollow eyes unblinking, cable fingers dangling limp yet ominous, forcing a momentary blackout of the defenses. This mechanic served as a distraction, pulling attention from system failures like audio decoys or oxygen drops, allowing Springtrap to creep undetected through vents toward the door. Unlike fatal phantoms such as Phantom Chica, this one vanished after seconds, leaving players disoriented amid the office's cramped console and flickering lights. The effect stemmed from the puppet's inherent awareness, preserved through Charlotte Emily's spirit, which pierced illusions even in ethereal state, as Phone Guy once noted its freedom to roam. In gameplay, quick camera switches or brief diversions mitigated the block, but repetition heightened tension, mirroring the relentless pursuit embedded in the lore. Game depictions show the Cam 08 model as a phantom manifestation of the puppet, though ambiguous, its undeconstructed survival. Post 1987. Dismantling, hinting at evasion during the toy purge. This presence amid Fazbear's Fright's climactic blaze, attributed to faulty wiring, placed it near Springtrap's entrapment, where fire ravaged exhibits and tapes alike. The form's use underscores continuity, linking the 1987 Guardian to Afton's fiery comeuppance. While Phantom mechanics echoed its FNAF 2 lethality, the blaze failed to fully purge hauntings, paving paths to minigames like Happiest Day, as later events would reveal Henry's role. Through this iteration, the puppet bridged eras, its decayed stare affirming endurance against the killer trapped in rotting flesh, ensuring spectral threads persisted into future confrontations. The phantom form represented not just a memory, but an active force, a reminder that some spirits cannot be laid to rest through fire alone, that the protective drive that had animated Charlotte's spirit in the beginning remained as strong in death as it had been in life, perhaps even stronger now that the constraints of flesh and circuit had been stripped away, leaving only pure purpose burning in the darkness. Accessing a hidden layer in FNAF 3 requires double-clicking the child-drawn image of the puppet on camera 03, a wall poster amid Fazbear's Fright's narrow hallway lined with faded posters and props. This interaction transports players into an 8-bit side-scrolling sequence where direct control shifts to the puppet, its pixelated form complete with tear stripes and button torso, gliding across elevated platforms of stacked boxes and chairs under a muted sky. The minigame unfolds as a cryptic ritual, with the animatronic navigating platforms to gather masked children representing the missing victims, their heads obscured by Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Golden Freddy visages from earlier revivals. Charlotte Emily's spirit guides these motions, extending the protective acts from give gifts, give life, into a pursuit of closure, where each collected soul follows in procession. The controls demand precise jumps and levitations, mirroring the puppet's real-world agility, while somber chiptune notes underscore the weight of unresolved hauntings. This hidden mode ties into the game's core, unlocking paths to endings that hinge on completing all such minigames, blending gameplay with the quest for release, as the puppet leads the masked figures into a small, adjacent room. The puppet triggers their assembly around a table laden with cake and balloons, a symbolic feast evoking the pizzeria's birthday traditions, now repurposed for spectral farewell. Heads detach one by one, rising as pale orbs that float upward, signifying the children's spirits, shedding their animatronic bonds forged in the 1987 location's tragedies. This culmination demands full minigame mastery: BB's Air Adventure, Chica's Party, Mangle's Quest, Stage 01 triggering the good ending where the orbs ascend into light, the puppet watching from nearby as masks drop below. The sequence captures an attempt at peace, rooted in the animatronic's guardianship that began with stuffing suits to preserve lives, now inverting to grant freedom amid Springtrap's distant threats in Fazbear's Fright. The masks lie cleanly during separation, emphasizing emotional catharsis over vengeance. Warnings from Phone Guy's era about animatronic behaviors find echoes here, though the ending's ambiguity persists, questioning if true departure occurred. Overseeing the spirit's departure reinforces the puppet's central role in redemption sequences, its presence at the ritual's heart, affirming Charlotte's enduring influence from the Rainy Alley possession onward. The good ending fades with faint music box tones linking back to containment echoes across nights, while incomplete efforts end without release, mirroring failed pursuits in shadowed halls. This 8-bit interlude stands as a pivotal narrative moment, illustrating potential escape from hauntings that plagued locations from the original Freddy's to the Fright attraction's Blaze. The puppet's oversight, levitating amid ascending souls, marks a momentary triumph, yet ultimate custom night's persistence suggests incomplete peace, with voice lines hinting at ongoing protection. Through Cam 03's simple click, players glimpse the animatronic's deeper purpose, bridging mechanical origins with the weight of lost childhoods in Freddy Fazbear's shadow tapestry. The image of those floating orbs, rising towards something beyond the pixelated ceiling, represented a hope that perhaps, despite everything, there could be an ending that wasn't defined by suffering, that the children who had been bound to metal and malice might finally know rest, even as their guardian remained behind, eternally vigilant in the spaces between life and death. The Halloween update for Five Nights at Freddy's 4 brought forth Nightmarionne, a nightmarish reinterpretation of the puppet's form, emerging as a skeletal variant amid the bedroom horrors of the crying child's nightmares. This iteration stripped away the original's fabric-like texture, rendering a thinner, elongated body with protruding ribcage details that evoked exposed bone beneath taut black skin. Legs transformed into pointed, braided structures tapering to sharp tips, while upper limbs ended abruptly at the elbows, replaced by long striped tendrils that writhed like shadowed vines in the dim glow of the child's flashlight. The design drew from the puppet's humanoid essence, but amplified it into terror, positioning Nightmarionne as Nightmare's counterpart with shared behaviors, including hallway checks and bedside threats. Players encountered it in the updated roster, where survival demanded constant scans of doors, closets, and the bed area. The animatronic's presence, announced by faint music box strains persisting from its progenitor. This variant's debut expanded the franchise's holiday-themed horrors, weaving the puppet's lore into psychological depths where childhood fears materialized in mechanical guises that defied the boundaries between dream and waking horror. Nightmarionne's facial redesign discarded the rosy cheeks and painted lips of the standard puppet, opting instead for a jagged mouth lined with pointed teeth that gleamed under the bedroom's sparse lighting. Eyes enlarged into glowing white orbs with pinpoint centers, radiating an unnatural luminescence that pierced the darkness, heightening the sense of unrelenting pursuit during night shifts. This alteration originated from the update's thematic push toward escalated dread, aligning with other additions like Nightmare Balloon Boy, where familiar characters twisted into more visceral threats. In gameplay, the animatronic attacked from random positions, forcing flashlight checks on doors and closet while listening for bed activity to prevent jump scares. A system that built on FNAF 4's core loop of auditory cues and peripheral scans. The eerie music box melody accompanied its movements, a direct nod to the puppet's containment in earlier titles, now repurposed to signal impending doom in the child's tormented visions. Through this evolution, Nightmarionne embodied the blurring of dream and reality in the series, its skeletal frame serving as a bridge to the puppet's haunted origins, while introducing fresh layers of intimidation that spoke to the deepest fears lurking in the darkness of a child's bedroom. Subsequent appearances carried Nightmarionne into virtual realms, such as Five Nights at Freddy's, Help Wanted, where its VR manifestation amplified the terror through immersive close encounters, tendrils reaching out in three-dimensional space. In Ultimate Custom Night, it gained a voice delivering lines like, "This is a nightmare that you won't wake from," revealing a sadistic edge tied to its nightmarish nature. Players countered it by avoiding cursor lingers on its on-screen form, watching it solidify from shadow to threat mechanics that echoed its origins while integrating into customizable challenges. These extensions stem from reception to the Halloween debut, solidifying Nightmarionne as a recurring variant across spin-offs. Its presence in FNAF World as a playable character further diversified its role, with attacks like Fourth Wall, emphasizing raw power. In the broader canon, this puppet offshoot enriched the lore's darker facets, where nightmare influences twisted into cruelty, offering glimpses into alternate hauntings within Freddy Fazbear's expansive nightmare landscape. The transformation from protector to tormentor reflected the way trauma and fear can distort even the most benevolent intentions, turning guardianship into something that haunts rather than comforts. FNAF World unfolds as a turn-based RPG spin-off, where players assemble parties from familiar animatronics to traverse glitchy landscapes and battle pixelated foes in a whimsical yet eerie overworld. The standard puppet unlocks early through random encounters, often in areas like Lilygear Lake, its chibi form rendered in vibrant cartoon style, with perpetual white light dots, glowing in black eye sockets, like captured stars, taglined, "Think outside the box." It embodies the prize corner entity's spirit through combat abilities. Prize Ball, 2 launches random powerful strikes on enemies. Mystery Box shuffles the entire party with unlocked allies for tactical surprises. Unscrew attempts instant kills on groups at low odds. These moves draw from the puppet's lore of gifts and evasion, allowing it to support beefier teammates like Freddy or Foxy in bite battles. Charlotte Emily's protective essence lingers subtly in its utility, turning the haunted guardian into a strategic asset amid the game's looping paths and hidden encounters. Players rotated into frontline or backup roles where its box-themed antics disrupt enemy formations, echoing the music box containment from core titles in a lighter, more playful context. Phantom Puppet joins as another unlock in Lilygear Lake. Its tagline, "Put it back in the box," nodding to FNAF 2's winding mechanic, with attacks featuring a comically enlarging head that nods to its office-obscuring jump scare in FNAF 3. This variant trades some whimsy for debuff potency. Jump scare stuns foes mid-turn, halting their assaults, while Hot Cheese 2 inflicts gradual health drain over time, and Mystery Box 2 offers enhanced party swaps for mid-fight adaptability. The design keeps the decayed, ash-toned aesthetic from Fazbear's Fright but softens it for RPG charm, white pupils flickering during animations. Deployed against debuff-heavy enemies in zones like Deep Metal Mine, it excels at crowd control, its phantom nature providing reliable damage without the standard puppet's riskier kills. This playable form extends the phantom mechanics into playful strategy, where players chain stuns with allies' heavy hits, preserving the animatronic's distracting legacy from survival nights in a format designed for experimentation and fun rather than fear. Nightmarionne caps the trio as a late-game powerhouse unlocked via Update 2's Foxy, marionette.exe minigame in the Halloween backstage after completing the main quest, its loading message noting, "I'm taller in person." Towering in black and white skeletal glory, it wields Prize Ball 2 for bursts, the devastating fourth wall attack that shreds bosses, and Bubble Breath to shield the party from poison status in toxic areas. Tendril arms and glowing eyes animate with fluid menace, contrasting the cutesier variants while tying back to FNAF 4's bedroom terrors, positioned for endgame challenges like Chica's Magic Rainbow. It dominates with raw output, players upgrading its slots to maximize party synergy. Box motifs persist across all three swaps, escapes, containment without direct narrative links, yet they reinforce the puppet's thematic core of entrapment and release, inviting explorers to think outside in this pixelated detour from Freddy Fazbear's haunted halls. The playful reimagining of such dark themes demonstrated the franchise's ability to transform horror into something more accessible while maintaining the essential character that defined the puppet across all its iterations. Pizzeria Simulator introduces the security puppet as a purchasable attraction for the custom Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, listed among stage props and decor at a modest cost to enhance business ratings. This variant diverges from the original with a rounder head and broader chest, stripes extending fully along its arms rather than confining to lower sections, creating a sturdier silhouette suited for stationary display. Blue tear marks replace the purple ones, while red lips and cheeks frame the grin, paired with a single white button on the torso for minimalist flair. Developers positioned it as a non-performer, its form echoing the prize corner legacy yet adapted for corner placement without demanding power or maintenance. Buyers integrated it into layouts near entrances or arcades, where it boosted ambiance scores during daytime simulations, drawing virtual families to the revamped venue. The design's evolution catered to Henry's trap-laden pizzeria, blending nostalgia with subtle utility that masked deeper intentions. Through catalog screens and build phases, players weigh its appeal against risks, its presence subtly nodding to the haunted past without overt mechanics, representing a sanitized version of the Guardian that once prowled the halls with purpose. A jester-like prong crowns the head, curving backward with a golden bauble at the tip, complemented by matching yellow pupils in the eyes that catch simulated lights from party rooms or stages. Mounted permanently atop a black and purple striped box distinct from the original's blue tones, the animatronic lacks visible legs, rooted in place as a statue rather than emerging dynamically. This immobility stemmed from its role as decor, foregoing the levitation or walks of prior puppets to prioritize aesthetic fit in compact spaces alongside items like the mediocre Melodies band. Gold accents softened its gaze, evoking friendliness that elevated guest satisfaction metrics in the management sim. During assembly, the box anchored it firmly, preventing unintended activations amid roaming threats like Scrap Baby or Molten Freddy. The setup invited passive observation, where virtual patrons pause for photos, indirectly supporting revenue streams from tickets and merchandise. In this form, the security puppet served the game's facade of normalcy, its fixed pose concealing ties to the lore's security origins, while representing what might have been if tragedy had never struck a world where the puppet remained nothing more than a cheerful prize dispenser, unmarred by death and possession. The attached minigame revisits the original's bracelet tracking function, deploying the security puppet to scan for the green signal amid pixelated pizzeria halls, mirroring Charlotte Emily's fateful night with her locked outside the venue. Completion unlocks lore insights depicting the search's failure as rain hampers circuits, a direct prelude to possession events in core canon. Ultimate Custom Night features a brief background cameo, standing inert amid the office chaos without attacks or lines, affirming its unpossessed status. Lacking the hauntings that animated predecessors, it remains a relic prop in Henry's scheme, untouched by spirits like those in Lefty. This detachment preserved its purity, contrasting the fused horrors elsewhere, while the minigame reinforced timeline links to FNAF 2's Save Them. Through these glimpses, the security puppet encapsulated a what-if security, unmarred by tragedy lingering as a silent echo in the franchise's mechanical menagerie. A ghost of innocence in a story defined by its loss. Henry Emily, returning after years of absence to dismantle the Freddy Fazbear legacy, engineered Lefty as a specialized bear animatronic, disguised among Pizzeria Simulator's purchasable attractions. Its dirt-cheap price belied a precise purpose to capture and contain the puppet before it could revive more souls in the trap-laden venue. This black-suited bear with its oversized top hat and microphone concealed advanced systems under a facade of stage performer, drawing from Henry's co-founding expertise with William Afton to invert creation into entrapment. The blueprint outlined 5 phases: lure, encapsulate, fuse, transport, extract, targeting the puppet's enduring guardianship rooted in Charlotte's spirit. Players unwittingly acquired Lefty during management phases, its presence boosting ratings while it scanned for the animatronic amid roaming threats like Scrap Trap. This contrivance addressed the puppet's role in perpetuating hauntings, as Henry viewed its gifts of life as misguided bindings that prolonged suffering. Lefty's deployment in the pizzeria's vents and mazes ensured isolation, pulling the target from freedom into engineered oblivion, step by step, representing a father's final attempt to save his daughter from the curse he had inadvertently created through his protective technology. Lefty's dead left eye housed the core lure, a false sensory output, mimicking a child security bracelet at frequency FZ 554. The exact signal that once drew the original puppet to Charlotte Emily on that rainy night. Broadcast from this optic void, the emission replicated a vulnerable wristband's pulse, compelling the haunted animatronic to approach under the illusion of protecting another innocent. Henry's calibration exploited the puppet's programmed instincts, now amplified by possession, overriding caution in the simulated daytime bustle of arcade games and stage lights. Once proximity closed, mechanical clamps engaged, the eye's glow fading as capture initiated without alerting nearby remnants like Molten Freddy. This deception mirrored Afton's lures but served redemption, transforming predatory tactics into paternal closure. Documentation in the catalog detailed this phase, warning of variable behavior post-seal, yet the frequency's precision guaranteed initial success amid the pizzeria's deceptive normalcy. The cruelty of using Charlotte's own protective nature against her, of weaponizing a father's love to trap a daughter's spirit, added layers of tragedy to Henry's plan. Necessary evil, in service of what he believed to be a greater good. Encapsulation followed through the microphone's Dream One soother, piping a lullaby likely My Grandfather's Clock to pacify the puppet amid struggle, while internal voltage surged steadily upon suit closure to enforce compliance and suppress escape, fused within Lefty's cavernous frame. The slender form compressed against endoskeletal struts, cable fingers pinned as the bear sealed shut. Transport ensued via vent networks laced with child cries, maze echoes, and Afton's recorded taunts, disorienting the captive during the week's operations. Extract remained Henry's final act in the Inferno, extracting souls through collective purge. Lefty's attacks in gameplay, crawling vents to shush intruders, doubled as the puppet's muffled fury, visible in fused imagery. This containment neutralized the Guardian, binding it alongside other haunted remnants for the blaze, where Henry's monologue would seal their shared end in flames. The security puppet minigame activates upon purchase and completion, plunging players into a pixelated retelling of Charlotte Emily's murder at an early Freddy Fazbear's or Fredbear's family diner, where the animatronic scans halls for the green bracelet signal amid empty party rooms and arcade shadows. Henry's programming directs its hover through vents and doorways, green eyes piercing the 8-bit gloom as it detaches from the gift box to pursue the fading pulse outside. This sequence mirrors the original security role, with the puppet navigating limited animations that omit arm and leg stripes for stylistic simplicity, focusing instead on core motion. Rain begins to fall as the signal weakens, shorting circuits and forcing a drag across wet pavement, the minigame's chiptune score swelling to underscore the breakdown. William Afton's purple car pulls away, leaving skid marks that guide the faltering path, blending gameplay controls with inevitable tragedy. The depiction locks this event as canon origin, tying the animatronic's failure to the franchise's first haunting. Presence block the box early in the minigame, compelling the security puppet to force its way free before the storm fully engulfs the exterior, its form crawling to Charlotte's abandoned body beside trash and puddles. Collapse occurs beside her gray form, the screen fading as possession takes hold, a direct visual parallel to FNAF 2's Take Cake to the Children minigame, where prompts read, "Save him," though canon later identifies the victim as female. Henry's Pizzeria Simulator monologue confirms the linkage, addressing his daughter in the insanity ending. "I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up in their arms the way you lifted others into yours." This narrative convergence resolves timeline ambiguities, positioning the rainy night as the precise catalyst for Charlotte's spirit entering the shell. Animation choices, like green eyes and stripe patterns, stem from 8-bit constraints, yet preserve essence, with the bracelet's silence marking the shift from machine to haunted guardian. Gameplay rewards completion, with lore depth, unlocking insights into the protective drive that birthed Give Gifts, Give Life, fused within Lefty during Pizzeria Simulator's nights. The original puppet becomes visible in attack animations, its slender limbs protruding from the bear's frame as it crawls vents to deliver shushing jump scares. Catalog images and mid-game frames expose the containment cable fingers clawing seams, while the top hat conceals the porcelain mask. This integration doubles Lefty's threats as the puppet's muffled assaults, Henry's voltage, and lullaby ensuring compliance amid the week's chaos. The minigame's endpoint feeds into this trap, where revival gifts cease under paternal override, representing the moment when a father's plan to end suffering collided with a daughter's eternal mission to protect. Flames roar through the oven-like structure of the final Freddy Fazbear's pizza in Pizzeria Simulator, consuming the trapped remnants, Scrap Baby, Molten Freddy, Scrap Trap, and Lefty and Henry's meticulously planned inferno designed to end the cycle of hauntings once and for all. From hidden speakers, Henry's voice emerges steady and resolute, culminating in a direct appeal to his daughter inside the puppet. "My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well." This recorded speech plays during the completion ending after players salvage the animatronics across the nights, ensuring no escape amid rising heat and collapsing beams. Henry's words pierce the chaos, acknowledging Charlotte Emily's inevitable draw back to protection, her spirit's persistence woven into the puppet's frame since that rainy collapse. The monologue unfolds as the screen fades to embers, Henry's tone carrying paternal finality that binds the narrative's threads, co-creator turned destroyer, confronting the legacy he helped birth with William Afton. Lefty's contained form, visible in prior attacks, embodies this climax, its shushing jump scares now silenced in the fire's embrace as metal warps and circuits melt in the overwhelming heat. Henry's apology flows next, raw with regret for the night she waited outside. "I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms the way you lifted others into yours." This confession ties directly to the security puppet minigame's Crawl Through Rain, where circuits failed and presents blocked her rescue, framing the possession as an extension of her selfless nature. Praise follows for that protective instinct, her spirit carrying the innocent as she once did in life, actions that preserved souls at the cost of their freedom. The fire's glow illuminates this reflection. Henry's plan inverting the puppet's role by forcing collective release through destruction, targeting the misguided bindings that perpetuated torment. Catalog details on Lefty's voltage and lullaby underscore the capture's cruelty, yet Henry's speech humanizes it, positioning the blaze as mercy for Charlotte's trapped essence amid the pizzeria's crumbling facade. Condemnation turns to Afton next. This ends for all of us, as Henry frees the other lost children, condemning the killer's soul to isolation, while the structure incinerates everything within. Lefty's attacks, echoing the puppet's muffled struggles with clawing limbs and suppressed levitation, fade into ash, the bear's top hat melting alongside its captive. This binding drags all into the flames, Henry's voice trailing into static as credits roll, questioning full resolution. In light of Ultimate Custom Night's limbo, the monologue cements the puppet's arc from security failure to fiery purge. Henry's paternal override halting its revivals. Embers settle over the site, marking closure for the guardian that defined hauntings across eras. Its protective will finally stilled in the Inferno's unrelenting heart. Lefty carries the puppet deep into the vent-riddled maze of Henry's final Freddy Fazbear's pizza, its fused form, slender limbs pressed against the bear's endoskeleton, navigating twists laced with fabricated child cries, and William Afton's echoing taunts from hidden speakers. Trapped alongside Scrap Baby, Molten Freddy, and Scrap Trap, the animatronic endures the week's simulated operations, Henry's steady voltage pulsing through Lefty to maintain suppression while lullabies drone faintly from the microphone. This confinement exploits the puppet's protective instincts, drawing it from potential revivals into isolation, amid the pizzeria's deceptive daytime facade of arcade hums and stage lights. Flames erupt on the final night, vents sealing as the oven-engineered structure ignites, consuming metal and fabric in waves of heat that warp the prize corner echoes of old. Charlotte Emily's spirit, bound since the rainy alley, faces this engineered oblivion. The fire's roar drowning out muffled struggles from within Lefty's sealed chest. The blaze fulfills Henry's design, targeting the Guardian's role in perpetuating hauntings through gifts like those in Give Gifts, Give Life. Henry's monologue broadcasts amid the inferno, condemning Afton to eternal isolation while freeing the other lost children, their souls intended to depart as structures collapse in synchronized destruction. Lefty's top hat chars first, exposing glimpses of the puppet's porcelain mask cracking under thermal strain, cable fingers curling inert as the bear slumps into embers. This collective purge inverts the animatronic's legacy, where stuffing suits granted persistence, now yielding dissolution in flames that represented both an ending and a release from decades of tormented guardianship. The oven's insulation ensures no remnants escape like embers from Fazbear's Fright. Pizzeria Simulator's completion ending, visualizing the purge's totality, credits rolling over fading glows that symbolize release from metal prisons forged in 1987's tragedies. The puppet perishes here, its levitating form grounded forever in ash, marking the cessation of interventions that rallied withered suits in Save Them or obscured offices in FNAF 2. Henry's paternal override halts the cycle, the fire's heat catalyzing what hauntings resisted for decades. Ultimate Custom Night casts doubt on full resolution. The puppets return in the kitchen with music box demanding wind, suggesting limbo over Oblivion's souls lingering in Afton's torment rather than ascending like Happiest Day's orbs. This aftermath removes the active guardian, stripping opposition to Fazbear Entertainment's resurgences, where threats like Glitch Trap proliferate unchecked without mask-piercing vigilance. The Inferno's intent collective peace clashes with UCN's persistence, Henry's blaze freeing some while binding others in spectral vendetta. Embers cool over the site, the puppet's essence scattered, yet voice lines like, "The others are under my protection," echo faintly, hinting at unresolved threads in the franchise's shadowed expanse. Ultimate Custom Night places the puppet in the kitchen monitor, where a dedicated music box demands constant winding to prevent its emergence. Amid the onslaught of 50 selectable animatronics in a cramped, eternally lit office, players alternate between screens, clicking the coil as it unwinds, the familiar "My Grandfather's Clock" melody serving as the anchor against release. Much like FNAF 2's prize corner ritual, neglect prompts the animatronic to stir, its striped form materializing on the feed before advancing, levitating through unseen paths to deliver a fatal jump scare. A global music box alternative activates from anywhere but drains precious power, forcing trade-offs with defenses like doors or heaters against threats from DD or XOR. This dual system heightens the customizable hellscape, where William Afton's implied torment draws haunted forces, the puppet's mechanics preserving its uncontainable essence from earlier nights. Office fans whir overhead, masking the box's chime as players juggle priorities in endless loops that echo the franchise's limbo themes, creating an environment where vigilance can never cease and rest never comes. Voice lines delivered during encounters blend guardianship with sadistic glee, the puppet declaring, "The others are under my protection," to affirm its role since "give gifts, give life," while taunting, "Seeing you powerless is like music to me," reveals a vengeful twist on Charlotte Emily's spirit. These phrases activate on proximity or failure, the animatronic's porcelain mask filling audio cues with eerie calm, contrasting feral lines from others like Scrap Baby. Protection extends to dismissing lesser souls as animals. Compared to its awareness, a nod to Phone Guy's FNAF 2 warnings of its thinking nature. Torment lines savor helplessness. "I recognize you, but I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore," hinting at apathy toward Afton or the player in this afterlife office. The mix underscores moral complexity, where revival gifts morphed into eternal hunts, voice acting threading the puppet's arc from rainy alley witness to unyielding overseer in UCN's chaotic symphony. Official descriptions confirm the puppet's male designation 3 times. He must be kept in his box, despite Charlotte's female soul, aligning with the Freddy files and casting it as Toy Chica's anime suitor in high school cutscenes, where she covets those long, beautiful strings, creating a strange dissonance that reflects the fractured nature of identity in the haunted world of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Lefty returns in a closet, rising with heat and noise before shushing intruders, soothed only by the global box. Its lines like, "Come spend eternity inside with me," echoing fused containment. Nightmarionne horns the screen, solidifying if the cursor lingers, countered by constant mouse movement, while voicing, "This time, death cannot save you," transforming the nightmare variant into an active threat. Music soothes all 3, linking back to containment origins, their presence questioning Pizzeria Simulator's Blaze resolution. This trio reinforces the puppet's legacy, haunting Afton's limbo with mechanical precision amid the office's flickering monitors and persistent dread, suggesting that perhaps some spirits are too deeply bound to their purpose to ever truly be released, that the protective drive that defined Charlotte in life has become an eternal prison in death, one that not even Henry's carefully orchestrated fire could destroy completely. 5 Nights at Freddy's. Help Wanted revives the 1987 Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in virtual reality, placing players in the security office where the puppet re-emerges with updated mechanics that blend nostalgia with heightened immersion. Winding the music box remains essential to contain it in the prize corner, but failure now unleashes a tangible pursuit, its slender form navigating the digital halls with a newly animated wavy motion in its elongated legs. A departure from prior levitation for added realism in VR. This rusty brown coating covers its body, enhancing the sense of presence as it closes in, cable fingers flexing in grainy feeds that echo FNAF 2's camera switches. This iteration exploits headset tracking, where head turns reveal its approach through vents or doorways, ignoring the Freddy Fazbear head mask just as before. The level's design drawing from core lore by positioning the puppet as an unyielding guardian amid toy animatronics like Toy Chica. Its possession by Charlotte Emily's spirit driving the relentless advance creates an experience where players feel truly hunted, where the distinction between game and reality blurs in the immersive VR environment. Pizza Party mode offers a closer encounter, tasking players to navigate darkened rooms toward a cake-lit goal, where lingering near the prize corner triggers the puppet's emergence in real time from its striped box. The lid creaks open, a porcelain mask rising with hollow eyes that lock onto the viewer, leading to a jump scare that fills the VR field with its tear-striped grin and button torso. This mode's interactive layout stems from Help Wanted's emphasis on exploration, contrasting static office defense with mobile evasion amid arcade cabinets and party debris. An action figure variant appears in collectible form, its wiggly limbs capturing the animatronic's fluid design in miniature, unlockable through challenges that tie back to minigames like Happiest Day. These elements deepen engagement, allowing fans to interact with the puppet beyond survival, its rubbery animations evoking the eerie float from Ultimate Custom Night while adapting to handheld controls. Through these details, the game honors the lore's protective essence, turning virtual spaces into echoes of Freddy's haunted history, where the past can be experienced anew through the lens of modern technology. Nightmarionne haunts the bedroom level, a nod to FNAF 4's Nightmares, where its black and white tendrils snake through ceiling holes, closets, and under-bed gaps, demanding flashlight sweeps to repel them before the full form descends. Glowing white eyes pierce the dark as licorice-like fingers extend down hallways, the animatronic's skeletal ribcage and pointed teeth materializing in VR for genuine frights. Mechanics require constant vigilance, shining light to dissipate the appendages, a system that builds on the variant's Halloween debut while integrating Help Wanted's sensory immersion. Absent is the phantom puppet from the FNAF 3 remake, its decayed hallway stare omitted to focus on other phantoms like Phantom Freddy, streamlining the attraction's horrors. This selective recreation preserves the puppet's lineage from original guardian to twisted offshoot, inviting players to confront its haunted legacy in intimate settings. The game's layers unfold these variants gently, bridging eras through digital lenses that capture the animatronic's enduring mystique while demonstrating how the character has evolved across different iterations and interpretations, each adding new dimensions to the core concept of the protective spirit trapped in mechanical form. Freddy in Space, 2, expands the spin-off universe as a side-scrolling shooter tied to a 2019 street. Jude's Charity Drive, where Captain Freddy rescues his kidnapped son from rogue LOLZHAX forces across cosmic levels, unlocking allies like the puppet after completing areas such as Stellar Pit. Rendered in a gangly, striped form with draggable legs for a sleepy aesthetic, the puppet functions as a lightweight, playable character. Its gift box attack circling its position as levels increase, dealing high damage that differentiates it from blaster-wielding teammates like Foxy or Bonnie. This mechanic draws from the animatronic's prize corner roots, transforming guardianship into offensive utility against bosses like the Lolbot or Chop N Roll, where the circling box hits enemies effectively. Players master its controls for tight time limits, the puppet's inclusion adding thematic depth without direct lore ties, its presence evoking Charlotte Emily's protective essence in a light-hearted detour from survival horrors. Through branching paths and dual endings, the game positions the puppet as a quirky asset, its striped tendrils dragging across pixelated voids in homage to the original's levitation, demonstrating that even in the most unlikely contexts, the character's core identity as a guardian remains intact. Security breach scatters puppet references across the sprawling pizzaplex, from hidden plushies tucked in West Arcade closets near control levers to a basketball game featuring the animatronic alongside its security and Nightmarionne variants, inviting players to spot these nods amid glam rock performances and endoskeleton chases. Staff bots echo the design with three-fingered clamps and triangular tear marks under their eyes, amplified in nightmare variants etched with stripes and "in your dreams" tags, subtly linking back to the Guardian's humanoid silhouette. Gregory's exploration uncovers these elements, the plushies collectible for lore enthusiasts, while the bots' patrols enforce the Mega Mall's deceptive order, their resemblance stemming from Fazbear Entertainment's recycled motifs. Ruin DLC extends this, with nightmare and plushie returns in decayed halls, though without major roles, their placements heightening atmospheric dread as Cassie navigates blob tendrils and mimic lures. These cameos preserve the puppet's mystique post-Inferno, weaving subtle threads into the Pizzaplex's viral glitches and vanishings, where protection once active now lingers in echoes, suggesting that even in this new era of entertainment, the old ghosts refuse to completely fade, their presence a reminder of horrors that preceded the glam rock generation. Help Wanted 2 incorporates the puppet in subtler forms, popping up in the FNAF 2-inspired phaser blast level as a target or distraction amid laser tag chaos, its porcelain mask flashing in augmented arenas that blend virtual training with haunted callbacks. A Transformers Phase Force action figure variant hides in drawers under codes like 1983, tying to timeline hints from Charlotte's Books era or the Crying Child's game narrative. While memory dolls styled after it appear in gravelit puzzles, their order Chica first, Puppet last, sparking debates on death sequences beyond the missing children. Lefty features in a first aid repair minigame, crawling forward as Helpy screams, its medium difficulty bridging Pigpatch's ease and Scrap Baby's challenge, jump scares echoing fused containment without new lines. These elements enrich the VR sequel's meta layers, players piecing lore through prize rooms and passwords. The puppet's absence in physical form, emphasizing its shifted legacy. Across these later titles, sparse glimpses maintain the animatronic's quiet influence, bridging eras in Freddy Fazbear's evolving digital haunts, demonstrating that the character's impact extends far beyond its active appearances, permeating the franchise's DNA in ways both obvious and subtle. The Silver Eyes trilogy positions Charlie Emily as the central protagonist, a teenager unraveling her father's ties to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and William Afton's crimes through haunted animatronics and hidden facilities. This book continuity runs parallel to the games, featuring Charlie as a robot duplicate crafted by Henry Emily after her real death, her narrative driving confrontations with Springtrap and Twisted Suits in abandoned malls and circuses. No direct puppet manifestation appears, though Charlie's protective traits mirror the animatronic's spirit, her risky decisions and fake memories echoing the rainy night possession that birthed the Guardian in game minigames. The fourth closet introduces Circus Baby's influence on her arc, blending human will with mechanical shells, much like the puppet's soul vessel dynamic. Readers encounter her awkward resolve amid friend groups like John and Jessica, her plot propulsion shifting to victimhood by the finale, highlighting themes of duplicated lives, absent the prize corner entity's interventions. This separation preserves the book's independence, where Charlie embodies vigilance without the marionette strings, her story informing game interpretations like Henry's motivations while exploring what it means to be created out of love and loss. Fazbear Fright stories extend the puppet sparingly, with epilogues placing Detective Larson discovering its form amid fire debris from a Freddy's blaze, stuffing it into a bag where a voice emanates. He is here. During the clash, with Afton's amalgam, Rabbit, Agony, it gets drawn into the mass, contributing to the entity's Lakewood Sink disruption, countering the killer's persistence without motion. In the bonus tale, you're the band. The puppet descends from an attic ceiling onto Mike Schmidt, deeming him a threat to a possessed child's Freddy mask, before approving its return and retreating silently. These glimpses portray it as a watchful protector, aggressive only toward disruptors, aligning with ultimate custom nightlines amid office chaos. The interventions halt possessions and counter Afton remnants, the animatronic's cable fingers and mask evoking game jump scares in prose. Through these shorts, the puppet reinforces its lore role silent overseer without dominating, its actions catalyzing resolutions in the anthology's shadowed vignettes, suggesting that even in alternate timelines and parallel narratives, the protective drive that defines the character remains constant and unyielding. The Character Encyclopedia dedicates a page to the puppet, detailing its prize corner attacks if the music box unwinds, Happiest Day control, and slender marionette build distinct from stage performers, listing core appearances from FNAF 2 through Help Wanted and spin-offs. Merch proliferates with Lefty puppet statues showing escape attempts, plush backpacks, stress toys, and duck variants alongside Faz Force figures and posters capturing its tear-striped mask. The FNAF 2 movie, slated for December 2025 theaters, teases major involvement. Trailers reveal Mike defending from withered animatronics with a Freddy mask, flashbacks to Afton's crimes, and glimpses of toy variants like Toy Freddy and Mangle in action. These hints position it centrally in the 1987 setting, potentially expanding Charlie's tragedy on screen. Across these extensions, the puppet's influence endures from encyclopedic facts to collectible forms, bridging games to broader media, while hinting at cinematic revivals in Freddy Fazbear's vast tapestry, ensuring that new audiences will encounter the Guardian's story in formats that extend far beyond the original games, carrying Charlotte Emily's legacy into new mediums and new generations. As the embers of Henry's final inferno cooled over the ruins of the last Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the puppet's slender form, once a vessel for Charlotte Emily's unyielding spirit, dissolved into ash, its porcelain mask cracking under the relentless heat that consumed Lefty's confining frame alongside Scraptrap and the other remnants. This blaze, engineered with paternal precision, severed the chains of possession that had bound souls to mechanical shells since the rainy night outside the diner, where a father's security creation failed to save his daughter from William Afton's shadow. The fire's purpose extended beyond destruction, aiming to release the children whose essences the puppet had preserved through gifts of life in shadowed minigames, allowing their orbs to ascend as in Happiest Day, while halting further revivals that prolonged their torment. Henry's monologue lingered in the smoke, his words to Charlotte, affirming her protective legacy even as the flames erased the animatronic's autonomy, transforming guardianship into quiet dissolution. In this endpoint, the pizzeria's cycle of hauntings fractured, the puppet's levitating grace grounded forever amid charred endoskeletons and melted microphones, marking a transition from active sentinel to faded memory in the franchise's tangled timeline. Yet echoes of the puppet persisted in the digital limbo of Ultimate Custom Night, where its music box demanded eternal winding in Afton's tormented office, voice lines like, "The others are under my protection," revealing a sadistic undercurrent to Charlotte's once compassionate will. This afterlife iteration, alongside Lefty's shushing advances and Nightmarionne's cursor-haunting presence, suggested the Inferno's release was incomplete. Souls lingering to exact vengeance in customizable hells that blurred resolution with repetition. Players navigated these layers, the puppet's mechanics echoing FNAF 2's prize corner vigilance, now amplified into a symphony of threats where failure invited jump scares that filled screens with tear-striped stares. The persistence underscored the lore's ambiguity. Primary sources like Pizzeria Simulator's endings clashing with UCN's implications of ongoing entrapment, where Henry's purge freed some but bound others in spectral vendetta. Through these remnants, the animatronic's influence endured. Its striped form a bridge between mercy and malice, inviting reflection on how one tragedy spawned a web of mechanical unrest that perhaps could never fully be extinguished, even by the most carefully planned fire. Subsequent recreations in Help Wanted's virtual realms revived the puppet's pursuit in immersive detail. Its wavy-legged advance through recreated 1,987 halls, ignoring masks and lights, while Nightmarionne's tendrils snaked from bedroom ceilings in nods to nightmare origins. These VR encounters, absent the phantom's decayed hallway lurks, heightened the sense of presence. Players' head turns, revealing cable fingers flexing in the gloom mechanics, rooted in core canon, yet adapted for sensory depth. Spin-offs like FNAF World transformed it into playable whimsy, chibi variants unleashing box-themed attacks in RPG battles. Their "think outside the box" taglines preserving thematic essence without haunting weight. Later cameos in security breaches plushies and staff bots carried subtle nods, triangular tiers and clamps, evoking the Guardian's design, amid Pizzaplex vanishings, where protection once central now whispered through collectibles. In this evolution, the puppet's arc softened into cultural echoes, bridging games to books and media, where Charlie's robotic duplicates mirrored its soul vessel duality, ensuring the marionette's quiet watchfulness lingered in Freddy Fazbear's expansive shadows as both warning and remembrance. In the shadowed pages of the Fazbear Fright's anthologies, the puppet emerges sporadically as a vigilant force, its form discovered amid charred debris by detectives probing the remnants of Freddy's blazes, whispering warnings like, "He is here," before merging into agonized amalgams that sink into forgotten lakes. These tales, woven through epilogues and bonus stories, portray it not as a central horror but as an intervening guardian, descending from attics to assess threats to possessed artifacts, its cable fingers retracting only after deeming the situation aligned with protection. Such depictions arise from the animatronic's canonical role in minigames like Give Gifts, Give Life, where preservation bordered on entrapment, now reframed in prose to counter Afton's lingering influence without overt aggression. Readers trace these threads across vignettes, the puppet's porcelain mask evoking quiet resolve amid human protagonists' unravelings, ensuring that even in literary extensions, Charlotte's spirit maintains a subtle oversight. This narrative layering enriches the franchise's horror, blending game mechanics with short-form chills that echo the pizzeria's unresolved sorrows, inviting contemplation on how mechanical vessels carry forward the weight of lost innocence through every medium where the story unfolds. Merchandise and encyclopedias preserve the puppet's image in tangible forms, from action figures with wiggly limbs capturing its levitation in Help Wanted, recreations to plush backpacks echoing the prize corner's whimsy, each item anchoring canon details like the tear-striped mask and button torso. The character encyclopedia dedicates entries to its mechanics, noting FNAF 2's music box containment and Happiest Day's ritualistic control, compiling appearances across titles without speculation. These collectibles stem from the animatronic's pivotal role in timelines from 1987's toy era to Pizzeria Simulator's Blaze, offering fans physical reminders of Charlotte's enduring vigilance. Stress toys and posters further immortalize its design, blending nostalgia with subtle eeriness that mirrors the franchise's tone. In this way, the puppet transcends digital confines, its echoes manifesting in everyday objects that bridge gameplay with personal connection, ensuring the Guardian's quiet presence lingers beyond screens and stories, becoming part of the cultural landscape that surrounds Five Nights at Freddy's, and serving as a constant reminder of the story's emotional core. Cinematic glimpses in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie trailers, released throughout 2025 ahead of the December theatrical debut, teased the puppet's pivotal role in the unfolding horrors at the 1987 Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, where its tear-striped mask emerges from shadowed corners amid toy animatronics and withered suits. Directed by Emma Tammy and starring returning actors like Josh Hutcherson as Mike Schmidt and Elizabeth Lale as Vanessa, the footage showcases brief but chilling appearances of the marionette, its elongated form hovering in dimly lit hallways, evoking the prize corner's jack-in-the-box mechanism that once contained it during night shifts. This on-screen adaptation stems from Scott Cawthon's original game lore, where Charlotte Emily's spirit infused the animatronic after William Afton's rainy night murder, now translated into live-action sequences that build tension through music box chimes and sudden lunges. Viewers catch hints of its independence, ignoring disguises like the Freddy Fazbear head mask, which in turn heightens the stakes for characters navigating the pizzeria's vents and party rooms. These previews not only honor the puppet's canonical guardianship but also amplify its eerie presence, drawing audiences deeper into the franchise's blend of mechanical whimsy and spectral vengeance, promising to bring the tragedy of Charlotte Emily to life in ways that will resonate with both longtime fans and newcomers to the story. Reflections on the puppet's enduring significance ripple through fan discussions and official media as of late 2025, with YouTube videos highlighting its redesigns in fan-made reboots like Unwithered Truth's FNAF 2 video, where enhanced details on the porcelain mask and cable fingers foster renewed appreciation for Charlotte's protective essence. These community echoes, shared amid anticipation for the movie, arise from the animatronic's core mechanics in titles such as Ultimate Custom Night, where voice lines affirm its awareness over the animal-like others, leading to strategic windings that prevent office intrusions. Official sources, including the Freddy Files updates, maintain its male designation despite the female spirit within, creating layered identities that influence costume recreations for Halloween and premieres. Such engagements preserve the lore's depth, from the Give Gifts, Give Life minigames revivals to Henry's fiery purge in Pizzeria Simulator, ensuring the puppet remains a symbol of unresolved tragedy. Gently, these conversations bridge generations, turning one daughter's fate into a collective narrative that sustains the Freddy Fazbear saga's quiet intrigue, demonstrating how a single character can embody the entire emotional journey of a franchise built on loss, protection, and the enduring bond between parent and child. Recent releases like the graphic novel adaptations of Fazbear Fright stories, launched in October 2025, feature subtle nods to the puppet in tales exploring mimicry and agony, where its watchful role inspires themes of containment and release without direct appearances. This extension from the book's parallel continuity, featuring Charlie Emily's robotic journey in the Silver Eyes, complements game canon by examining soul vessel dynamics that originated in the security puppet minigame's Failed Rescue. Games such as Secret of the Mimic, released in June 2025 after a 2024 tease, explore new horrors that may echo the marionette's levitation and music box dependency, influencing gameplay loops that demand vigilance against spectral threats. Henry's monologue in the Inferno ending resonates here, his apology for Charlotte's isolation catalyzing explorations of paternal regret across media. In this unfolding tapestry, the puppet's legacy persists as a calm anchor, its striped form a reminder of how mechanical safeguards morphed into eternal hauntings, inviting restful contemplation on Freddy Fazbear's shadowed evolution through every iteration and interpretation that continues to emerge. Speculation on the puppet's future in the franchise stirs gently as of November 2025, with whispers from developer interviews and social media threads suggesting potential resurgences in future DLC or unannounced spin-offs, where its protective mechanics could evolve into new minigames, echoing the bracelet tracking of old. Primary sources from Scott Cawthon's past commentary emphasize the animatronic's primacy as the first possessed entity, a detail that could anchor narratives, exploring pre-1987 origins or alternate timelines in books like the recent Fazbear Fright's graphic novels. These extensions, building on the Inferno's ambiguous resolution in Pizzeria Simulator, might reframe Charlotte's spirit as a lingering guide, influencing characters like Cassie in Security Breach's Ruin DLC through subtle cameos in decayed plushies or staff-bot designs. Henry's final words, praising her lifting of others, resonate in these possibilities, where the puppet's striped form catalyzes subtle interventions without dominating the spotlight. In this quiet anticipation, fans ponder how the marionette's awareness, distinct from the withered band's feral pursuit, might weave into VR horrors or mobile updates, preserving its role as a bridge between mechanical intent and spectral will in Freddy Fazbear's ever-expanding shadows. The cultural footprint of the puppet extends beyond games into fan creations and analyses, where YouTube breakdowns dissect its voice lines from Ultimate Custom Night, tracing how declarations like, "I am very aware," stem from Charlotte Emily's compassionate essence twisted by decades of entrapment. Community mods, such as those recreating FNAF 2's prize corner in Custom Night, honor its independence, allowing players to experience the music box's winding tension anew while exploring what-if scenarios absent in canon. Licensed merchandise. From articulated figures capturing the levitation pose to soundtracks featuring My Grandfather's Clock remixes, keeps the animatronic's atmosphere alive, each item grounded in details like the purple tear stripes from FNAF 2 cutscenes. These artifacts not only reflect the lore's depth but foster a sense of continuity, where one rainy night's failure propagates through art and discussion, inviting newcomers to uncover the Guardian's path from security tool to haunted overseer. Softly, this engagement sustains the narrative's calm intrigue, turning personal tragedies into shared reflections that echo across platforms and gatherings, ensuring that Charlotte Emily's story continues to touch hearts and minds long after the games have been played and the fires have burned out. As the tale of the puppet draws to a close in this telling, consider how its journey mirrors the fragility of safeguards in Freddy Fazbear's world. From Henry's engineered bracelet that faltered in the storm, to the gifts of life that bound souls in Give Gifts, Give Life. Each step a cause rippling into eternal consequences. The animatronic's presence in minigames like Save Them and Happiest Day underscores a theme of incomplete release, where protection borders on possession, leaving players to wind the music box eternally in reflections on loss and vigilance. Charlotte's spirit entering the shell beside her abandoned form transformed a simple prize dispenser into a force that rallied the withered against Afton, its cable fingers extending mercy amid mechanical confines. This arc, woven through fires and forgotten halls, invites a gentle surrender to the unknowns, where the pizzeria's shadows hold both horror and quiet resolve. Let these echoes fade as sleep approaches, the marionette's stare softening into the night, its eternal vigil becoming a lullaby that carries you toward rest. A reminder that even in darkness, there are those who watch and protect, bound by love that transcends death itself. The quiet resonance of the puppet's story invites a final pause on its thematic core within Freddy Fazbear's intricate web, where a simple security measure evolved into a symbol of perpetual guardianship, binding Charlotte Emily's essence to a marionette frame that navigated pizzerias from the 1987 toy era to Henry's climactic blaze in Pizzeria Simulator. This progression, marked by minigames like the security puppet's failed crawl through rain and Happiest Days ascending orbs, illustrates a chain of cause and effect. One daughter's death, catalyzing possessions that rallied withered suits like Freddy and Bonnie against William Afton's purple shadow, their unrest manifesting in nocturnal pursuits and voice lines affirming protection. The animatronic's immunity to masks and lights in FNAF 2 mechanics underscored its elevated awareness, a trait Phone Guy's logs warned of, setting it apart from toy variants like Toy Chica. Over time, This vigilance mattered as a counter to unchecked violence, preserving souls at the expense of freedom until the Inferno's heat offered release. Gently unfolding across titles, the puppet's path reminds us of the fragile boundary between safety and sorrow. Its striped form, a vessel for themes that echo through arcade hums and silent music boxes. In wrapping this narrative, envision the puppet's porcelain mask fading into the franchise's vast horizon, its tear stripes a lasting imprint on elements like Lefty's Containment in Pizzeria Simulator, or Nightmarionne's skeletal tendrils in Help Wanted's VR bedrooms. Each iteration building on Charlotte's Rainy Night. Possession to explore hauntings' enduring toll. Henry's monologue, delivered amid flames consuming Scraptrap and Molten Freddy, serves as the emotional anchor, his apology acknowledging the protective drive that began with a green bracelet signal and extended to gifts in Give Gifts, Give Life, ultimately leading to collective purge. This resolution, though questioned by Ultimate Custom Night's Limbo, highlights the animatronic's significance in bridging human loss with mechanical revival, its cable fingers symbolizing attempts to grasp what slipped away. As echoes appear in books like The Silver Eyes Charlie parallels or sparse cameos in Security Breach's plushies, the lore settles into calm reflection, inviting listeners to ponder how one tragedy propagated through vents and shadowed halls. Let this tale's gentle cadence carry you toward rest, the marionette's watchfulness dissolving into peaceful night. And so, as we drift away from the puppet's quiet vigil, remember its origin in Henry's hopeful design, a tool meant for joy in Freddy Fazbear's prize corner, transformed by fate into a haunted guide that confronted Afton's crimes across eras, from Save Them's pursuits to the Inferno's final embers. This complete arc, woven with canon anchors, like the music box's My Grandfather's Clock and the minigame's pixelated failures, encapsulates the franchise's essence, mechanical whimsy masking deeper unrest, where protection yields to possession and release demands sacrifice. Charlotte's spirit, lifting others, even in spectral form, leaves a soft legacy in voice lines and designs that persist through spin-offs and media. Whether revisiting these details in dreams or allowing them to fade like distant arcade lights, this lore offers a serene close to the marionette's journey. Thank you for joining this immersive exploration into the complete history of the puppet. From its creation as a guardian to its transformation into something far more complex, a symbol of love that became a curse, a promise of protection that became an eternal prison, and ultimately, a testament to the enduring bond between a father and daughter that not even death could sever. May the puppet's story linger as a soothing whisper as sleep envelops you, its mechanical heart still beating somewhere in the shadows, forever watching, forever protecting, forever bound to the children it could not save. Good night.